a lot of these guys, especially the ones that don't really have the genuine character traits, are just learning how to like bamboozle women into sleeping with them. You know what I mean?
But is it bamboozling? I would say, God, see, it's so not politically correct when you have these conversations, but I would say to a woman, you put on makeup. So go ahead, hit that button.
Go on.
So isn't that bamboozling? Isn't that manipulative?
Oof. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Introspect Club, a club where you can learn a lot about yourself through conversations with other people. My name is Jeff Damisse, and I'll be your host. Today we have a very interesting conversation, as we do every week. I try to bring unique individuals who have a very unique experience and live a very interesting life. And the life that we're going to explore is a man who coaches shy men on how to date, how to find the love of their lives, or at least have a better experience with women. As you know, a lot of men these days don't necessarily have a lot of good examples on how to be men or how to be the proper example for the women that they want to lead or be with. And you're not getting that kind of example from your father these days, because let's be honest, a lot of people are growing up without fathers in the household, as well as a lot of people don't have the kind of experience that matter to the women in today's time. So I want to bring someone who's very special to this atmosphere. I want you guys to give a very, 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 very warm welcome to my man, Tripp Kramer from Tripp Advice, dating coach for shy men. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
What's up?
Glad we can make this work.
I'm glad we're able to make this work. Listen, Tripp is a busy guy. Okay. Tripp has been helping men for quite some time. So getting him on this show is an honor, because trying to book him is like, chasing someone as a paparazzi. So Tripp, thank you for being on the show, man.
No problem. Over the years, and especially this year, like my goal this year has been all about really making my schedule the tightest and best it could be. Okay. Because I was doing so much coaching. Yeah. I was having so many guys sign up for coaching, which is fantastic. No complaints. Yeah. But it was so much that I was getting burnt out. I had to hire another coach to work with me and work under me to take on clients. Wow. So I'm trying to organize my schedule. It's like this constant thing I'm always tweaking to make sure that it's working for me. Does that make sense? Like I want to be at my optimal levels as much as I can. So like you're catching me in the middle of completely shifting around schedules and making it just more feasible. You know what? You got to read. I'm in the middle of this book called Atomic Habits. I don't know if you've ever done there. Yeah, you got it? Yeah, it's right up there. I finished it. I read it last year. Okay, right on. I'm in the middle of it, so don't spoil it for me. So give everybody a quick introduction of who you are so they get to know what you're about and what your mission is. Sure. So I'm Tripp Kramer from trippadvice.com. I'm a dating coach for shy guys, and my mission is to help as many guys as possible get into the relationships that they want to and be more confident in themselves so they can date the women of their choice. Interesting. Whenever I get in touch with like dating coaches, especially ones that have like very niche. Well, you get in touch with a lot of these guys? No, like I speak, like I have a podcast, so I speak to coaches. I've like had a lot of conversations with people who like help others like, reach their full potential in a multitude of ways. And I know about that atmosphere because like it comes up on my feed, and then I have people that I've met along the way that I've spoken to, and so on and so forth. So
whenever I meet people who are coaches, for whatever reason, whether it's trauma coaches, sex coaches, dating coaches, or just like business coaches, usually they have a story about, you know, what their origin was and how they came to that particular niche. So you not date, but like you coach men who are particularly shy.
Yes.
So tell me about why that particular niche is important to you and how you got into that space in the first place.
Well, I didn't always label myself as a dating coach for shy men.
Okay.
I was just a dating coach for men for many years. So
Okay.
I've been doing this since 2011. And I think it wasn't until 2017, 2018 is when I labeled it for shy men, because I realized that was the big market, or that was the type of person who was reaching out to me for help. It was 95% of the time shy men. And then I realized, I guess that's what I am. I'm a dating coach for shy guys, because if you're not shy, generally speaking, you probably wouldn't work with the dating coach. But I say probably because I do still work with a lot of guys who are not shy. They're just trying to figure out how to attract women and how to best meet the kinds of women that they want. But most of the time, it's a guy who labels himself as shy.
So how did you personally get into this in the sense of like, what was your motivation? Like, what's your story? How did you even get involved in this? Or were you yourself, let's say, a shy guy or somebody you felt like struggled in this space yourself?
Yeah, totally. It's interesting too, because I can't imagine anyone being a dating coach that didn't previously have the issues that they're coaching, right? Because I had to solve it on my own and figure it out. I wish I had one of those badges, like, former shy guy, 15 years, like an Alcoholics Anonymous, like that.
You got your badge,
right? No, so I called myself a person who was shy when I was in my teens and into my early 20s. Shy around women, though. It wasn't like I was too shy around people or making friends. I was very I still am very extroverted, but I was just very shy around women. I was not able to understand how to talk to them. I couldn't even talk to the ones that I really liked. And if I did, it had to be a really, like a moment, I'm missing a word here. Serendipitous. A serendipitous moment would only have to happen for me to ever speak a word to a woman I was attracted to.
Like everything had to align, right?
Yeah,
everything had to be like handed to you.
Control over it. Yeah, it had to be handed to me. And even then, like, it didn't really work out, and I wouldn't be able to attract them, to get them interested in someone like me. And I didn't even know that you could do that. I just thought that was it. That's your curse that were dealt. Yeah.
Wow. So wait, so what triggered you to make a change, and what change did you make particularly for yourself?
So the year was 2006.
Here we go. Let's go back.
That's amazing. And I'm in LA.
Okay.
And my buddy meets up with me. We're getting lunch.
Okay.
He goes, you ever hear about that book called The Game?
Uh-oh.
By the way, this is not a This is not a unique story. A lot of guys have this story. Is they hear about this book called The Game, because all the guys are talking about it. And it's the first time that anyone's ever really heard of guys who turned meeting women into a game and were able to figure out how to do certain things to attract women that were out of their league. And of course, a guy who's not able to do that or has never done that is very intrigued. That's why it was a bestseller. Yeah. So my friend tells me about it. I read the book. I read the book like probably 3 times, not in a row, but I just read it like 3 times because it was so interesting to me that there were guys out there who were doing this. And it was like this whole pickup community, this pickup world that was really popular from 2005 to about 2013, 14, something like that. It still kind of is there, but not as much. People don't use those terms. But anyway, he gives me the book. This basically showed me that, you could meet women and learn how to do it. There was actually something you could learn. And that blew my mind, which I'm going to take a wild guess, probably blew the minds of a lot of other guys who were like, oh, I didn't know you could learn this.
Yeah.
So then I went online and I found this whole community of guys who were talking about this in private forums. And I remember I was in college. I tried a couple of the moves, did not work.
Okay. Give me an example. What's a move?
It was like a move where like you go up to a girl. I don't know the move that well anymore, but it was like you go up to a girl and you comment on her smile, because I guess there's two types of smiles. There's like people who have more of a C-shaped teeth and then a U-shaped teeth, where like if it's a U-shaped teeth, I know, just bear with me here, where the U-shaped teeth, it goes straight back, and like a C-shaped teeth is like a wider smile. And so if you comment on that and mention that to a woman, it's kind of intriguing. And you say like, oh, people with C-shaped teeth, I don't know. Again, I'm butchering it because I don't really remember what was said, but that was the start of it. And I remember the girl looks at me, she goes, was that a pickup line? I go,
she's on to me.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that funny? Like the first time I use something, I'm called out. I go, this is terrible. I'm not using this stuff anymore.
Okay.
And I still learned from these guys, and there's books on this stuff and video courses and stuff you could torrent on the internet. And I was watching it. I never really put it into practice, mainly because, well, first of all, I was scared. But second of all, every time I ever used something, I was like getting called out for it.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm like, all right, what do I do here? Because I still am intrigued by this idea of being able to work on this as a way of personal development. It still seemed to me like this was something you could do. And I put it off and I put it off, and I tried online dating and I never got the results I wanted. So finally, even though I was super shy, I said, all right, you know what? Maybe I should just go out. So now I'm in my early 20s. I said, maybe I should just go out and just talk to women and just see what happens. I never really tried that, right? I either didn't do it at all, or I tried these weird pickup moves that clearly weren't working. And so I said, let's throw everything away. And let me just go out and just start talking to people.
And it started from just you getting access to this book, knowing that there's another level or access to your personal self that you weren't accessing.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that was your trigger moment. You're going to start talking to women and you're going to make a change, right? Yes. So let's fast forward a little bit, right? You took this initiative to now start speaking to women, right? And then now you're in the process of helping men how to speak to women, especially men who are shy, right?
Yes.
So my question to you is there anything along that journey from when you started to now where you kind of saw like an evolution of what was working for you before and what matters to you mostly now?
So was it kind of like, are you asking like, what was the biggest lesson there?
Not just the lesson, because here's what I know about the pickup community. And you tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You tell me if this is still your scenario.
Yes.
But like, I read that book, right? The game. Okay. I read that book. I wasn't too like in love with it for multiple reasons, but I was fascinated by the idea, just like you did. I mean, every young man who hasn't gotten a crash course on like how to get women or how to just be a man in general is going to be fascinated by something that they're not familiar with in that scenario, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that I learned about that community, as well as just putting on those, using, what I call those gambits, right?
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah, well, we're bringing it back. So the thing is, the term pickup artist, right, sounds very manipulative in today's environment. Okay? It sounds like you're putting on a show, putting on gambit, and putting on a facade to pick up a woman that quote unquote is out of your league, whatever you want to say. But I think what even in that book, there was an area where it was mentioned that even when you get those women, you're putting on a facade to attract them. But if it's not something you genuinely sustain within yourself, over time it just becomes a repetitious game. That
totally. Give you, you can use all that. By the way, this stuff does work. It's proven.
Oh yeah, it's science.
So it works.
Yeah.
all the pickup stuff, it works. But you make a good point, and I talk about this too a lot. It's not necessarily sustainable, because it's not. You can use this stuff and sleep with these women, but are they going to want to stick around? Probably. Correct. Most of the time, I would say no, they're not, because you're not a fully changed, confident person. You just copy and pasted some lines and did some stuff and hoped for the best. It's not
even the lines. It's more so that type of environment teaches you step one and step one only. It doesn't teach you, this is just my opinion, the foundation of how to be the type of guy you're presenting yourself to be forever.
A truly confident guy with value.
Correct.
With value. Yeah.
So walk me through that for the people you coach. What has that journey been like from back then, what you learned then into now?
Well, I would say that, so it started with that, right? With the fact that I was learning all this pickup stuff.
Yeah.
And then through my journey, I realized that really women just want to be around a guy who's comfortable around them and confident and can be somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
And so I was able to cut out all of that pickup stuff and then use that to get my own results and then formulate that into its own system that's learnable for guys. And over the course of the 11 years I've been doing this, I have tightened it down to its most simplistic form, so any guy can learn it, whether it be for online dating or meeting women in person and then going on dates with them and becoming that person who actually is attractive.
That's a very unique phrase right there. Becoming the person that's attractive.
Yes.
And why I find that interesting is like, that would imply that they weren't attractive men to begin with, in whatever sense of the word.
Well,
right?
they're not displaying it. So maybe they are an interesting person who, if you get in a room with them and they're just totally comfortable and calm and you're just chit-chatting with them, you're like, oh, this guy's a cool guy.
Yeah.
But he's not showing that to the women he's talking to.
Okay.
But so I also don't think that every guy inherently at default is an interesting, cool person. They might have to work on becoming a person who's more attractive. So it depends.
So give me an idea of what is the biggest problem that men have in getting getting the women that they want.
Oh man, the biggest problem.
Okay. You're going through your Rolodex of like, this is a problem. This is a problem.
Just to start, men are not giving themselves enough. How do I say data? Almost, they're not getting enough reps.
Okay.
So a guy will go online, post some crappy photos, and go, "Women don't like me," or he'll maybe talk to a couple girls, and they'll reject him and say, well, women don't like me. And this is, this isn't working for me.
Got it.
And what they're failing to realize is that they're not putting enough effort into it.
Yeah.
Is that you're going to get rejected most of the time.
Okay.
And you have to put yourself out there a lot more. You have to, first of all, whatever you need, this is a whole different conversation, but let's just say you got to do the things you need to do to be displaying your most attractive traits, but then you got to be swiping an hour a day. And you need to be meeting women in person.
Wait, hold up.
All the time.
Hold up. Wait. You got to be swiping for what? What'd you say?
An hour a day.
An hour a day you're swiping. Okay. Walk me through.
If you want to get the results that you want, yeah.
So walk me through why that is, right? You're saying men specifically or both men and women?
No, just men.
Just men. Why do men need to swipe?
Women need 3 minutes probably.
Why do you think that is? Why is that? Why is there such a disparity there?
Because women on dating apps are going for 20% of the top 20% of men.
Okay.
So women are going for the top 20% of men, and men are going for most of the women. So as an average looking woman, you could set up a profile, look pretty average, and have a lot of matches and have a lot of guys that you're ready to see.
Okay.
As an average guy, you're going to get potentially close to no matches on a dating app, or if you're getting matches with a girl that you're not really that interested in.
Okay.
So men have to work harder and they have to swipe more to get access to the women that they're more interested in. Cross their fingers. Hopefully that happens. Sometimes that doesn't happen.
Do you think women know this?
I think most women don't know this.
I believe you because let's be honest,
I think
right?
they would be shocked. They would understand it, but I think they'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Women have it easier in dating. I actually just did a video on this. Women have it so much easier in dating, and I will defend that statement forever.
You know, I don't necessarily think so. Right?
Why don't you think so?
You're not entirely wrong. Right? I think
where do women have it hard in dating?
Okay, here's where I think they have it hard. I think there are different types of women. Okay? Not every woman gets a boatload of options, right? And when you say women have it harder or easier, it depends on what the woman's looking for, right? I think women have a lot better access to sex, which is why they filter so much, right? And I don't think women have better access to relationships.
I hear you, but but you're wrong in the sense that women do have more access to relationships because they have so many options to men. A man can, let's put it this way. Let's talk going out to a club.
Okay.
Or a bar, whatever you want. Yeah. Where's the background music? Is that the scene, bro?
I don't want to get, copyright issues.
Okay. So man goes to a club. He'll be average guy. Let's just talk average guy. Okay.
Yeah,
average guy goes to a club.
Yeah.
Average looking guy goes to the club. He can approach 30 women. Hopefully he gets a number.
Okay.
Maybe he gets a number.
Okay.
So now his chances of sex or relationship are minuscule.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Woman goes to club.
Uh-huh.
Even an average looking woman will go to the club.
Yeah.
She will still get hit on. So now she has options. Now, some of those men just want to sleep with her, and some of those men might be in relationships. She has more options. Yes, it is more difficult for a woman it is challenging for women to find the relationship and sift through the guys who are only interested in sex, but she has options to even sift through. A guy has to work on that for sex and for relationship.
I think the challenges are different, right? I think you hit the nail on the head with what I'm trying to engage with you on. A woman, you said it yourself, women will seek the top 20% of the men in some degree, right? Let's just use those figures just hypothetically, right? If every woman walks into a club or a venue and they want only the top 20% of men, guess what? Some women are going to get left behind, right? Or
yeah, but that's their fault.
No, hold on for a second. Regardless of what the fault is, right? Pursuing the type of man that they want, those guys come far few in between, right? So even if she gets with a guy that is looking for a relationship, the type of guy that she wants is likely to have a lot of options himself, right? So then I feel as though a lot of those women, they'll come across those guys and they'll get sex, they'll get attention, but then long term, the guy that she really wants is going to play whatever options he wants, and she's going to get left behind. Now, in a sense, because she's waiting to be pursued, she's at the mercy of whoever comes to her, right? And that's the women's challenge. The guy's challenge, to your point, and you're absolutely right, he has to make a case for himself. He has to do the hunting. He has to be the person to create his own reality, and no one's going to do that for him, right? So if he wakes up in the morning, no one's going to come and hit on him just because. So you're absolutely right. I just think what the guy's looking for, or at least how the guy gets it, that's a challenge for him. And what the woman's looking for and how she gets it, that's a challenge for her. But I don't know if you see
well,
it that way.
It just comes down to also the idea of women that's kind of like they're creating that problem though. The fact that they are only going for the top 20%. It's like, I'm not a dating coach for women, but if a woman said to me, well, I want this guy and this guy doesn't want me. It's like, well, then there's so many other guys out here who are great guys who you could be with.
They don't turn her on.
We're like, guys, well, what can you do? I mean, guys like if we took the top 20% of, like, a guy would go to a club or even like swipe. Let's just talk swiping because that's more modern, I guess. But
okay,
a guy will swipe. Yeah, he'll swipe on the hottest girls on an app, but he'll also swipe on the 6s, 7s, and 8s. He will do that.
Yeah.
He will lower his, I don't want to say standards, but he doesn't need to.
He has a broader range when it comes to.
He has a broader range. He has a broader range.
Yeah.
But even in that broader range, it's still hard for him.
Of course it is. It's absolutely hard. Absolutely hard. I just know that the women, regardless of the abundance of men that are coming in their DMs, a lot of them are still single as a dollar. Okay.
Yes, you're right.
You know what I mean?
But again, they don't have to be.
They don't have to be, but you're also asking them to be viscerally attracted to what they're not attracted to. And I think that's what's tough for a lot of.
I mean, well, you really have to go for that. I mean, why is it so bad to be with a good guy who's making a decent living, who's not a millionaire? I mean, we're talking about like women are going for like the top of the top, where it's like, she really that bottom, even the top of that 80% that she's not going for, that's not good enough for her. She won't be attracted to that. I think she would be if she gave it a chance.
Yes, but right now we're in a world of a lot of facades, right? You're swiping on dating apps. You don't really get to know who you're liking. You know what I mean? And you get all these like visceral representations online from like men who are like showing off like certain lifestyles that standardizes themselves in people's minds, especially women's mind. And I think that's contributing to it in a lot of ways. And sure.
Another thing is that makes it really hard for guys is a woman will, and I'm not putting down women for this, by the way. This is just more of like fact. This is not like women are terrible. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, but what I'm saying is a woman will never, ever experience as much rejection as a guy. And you're a pretty good looking guy. You seem very charismatic and smooth. So maybe I have to really even help you understand a little bit more too. Is like to get rejected over and over and over. When you say it, it's like whatever. But if you really try to empathize with what that is like for a dude to just be told, no, 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 you have to go create value. No, you have to go create value. That's basically what women are saying. No, 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 no. That really messes. I know we don't curse, but I have one, but I won't say it. It really messes with the guy's head. It's really hard. Yeah. And a woman will never have to experience that. Now I get it. Women have other challenges. Like they only have one challenge. And to me, it's not that big of a deal compared to what guys go through. The what? Go ahead.
I'm saying, what is it? What is it?
I gotta go. Thanks for.
All right. Good night, everybody. All right. Good night, everybody.
A woman's challenge is just to figure out if the guy is interested in sex or not. To me, that's not that. This doesn't seem like this. It's a challenge for sure. It's not easy. That's why we call it a challenge, but it doesn't even compare what the guy has to go through. That's it. That's her problem. She just has to figure that out. And once she does, there's a lot of relationships available to her without her having to do anything except for look physically attractive.
Well, I think in that scenario,
I do ladies on here to talk respond to this. I said,
in the future we're gonna have like a little back and forth, but I want you to have your own solo stage for now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I love and respect women, men, everybody. I guess all my point is that men have it harder, and that's why my job exists.
Yeah,
is because I help guys get through that. So
I respect that. I respect that wholeheartedly, because I've been in your shoes. A lot of people, recognize, or at least the people that know me intimately, like,
yeah.
And when I was younger, I had a very similar experience as you, right? Growing up, like, coming from immigrant parents, like, we're not talking about like how to get women, like just go to school, focus on your career, this, that, and the third. And I did that, right? But then upon like, graduate from college and so on and so forth. Even though I've been in relationships, I've always had confidence, but I wasn't using it to the most potent version of itself. Right. And I realized, like, in the areas where I was failing, I realized there were things that I was doing that strategically could have been done better to get the type of woman that I want. Right. And to your point, there was a lot of rejections that came along with it. Right. And I was okay with it because I already had the confidence to accept the rejection, but I've also recognized, to your point, the rejections come in waves, right?
Yeah.
So on your podcast or on your journey to help men, what are some of the things that the men usually come to you struggling with? Is it mostly just accepting rejection?
It's mostly, how to get over the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And what do I say to girls? Which is one of the reasons why my podcast is called How to Talk to Girls. Because that is one of the biggest problems that guys have, is like, what do I say? Because they know something has to happen. They see a girl and they need to go talk to her, right? That's the logical step. But they're saying, well, what do I say? What am I supposed to say to this person? And how come I see that guy go over there and he gets the girl? And what do I say? So that's a big one. What do I say? How do I get over the fear of rejection or the fear of talking to women? Basically the same idea. Mm-hmm. And then another big problem is I work with guys so the sector of guys that are not shy that I work with, who say, oh, I'm getting lots of dates. Like Tripp, I get plenty of dates online. I'm getting dates. I'm even meeting women through friends, not a problem, but I can't get past that first or second date. So it's it's the idea of I can't get a woman to be continuously interested in me past the first or second date. So
you gotta brush your teeth. Make sure you brush your teeth. It's
brushing your teeth is a great tip. It's a great tip. Yes.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Those are the biggest problems that I work on with guys. And it usually comes down to building confidence through repetition and understanding how attraction works. How does a woman feel attracted to a man?
Okay.
And the problem with both men and women is we have a problem. So we have something, we're experiencing something.
Yeah.
So we're assuming that everyone's experiencing that. So what's happening is men and women both don't understand how attraction works, because they're thinking it's exactly like how attraction works for them.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So through that lens, what do women think is happening with men? Do you think?
Well, okay, so I'll spell it all out. So women are more attracted to the behavioral cues of a man.
Yeah.
And men are more attracted to the physical cues of a woman.
Yeah.
This is not opinion, by the way. There are studies that have shown that this is how attraction and sexual attraction work.
Right.
Okay. So what's happening is, a woman might, so for example, a woman might say to a guy, give him a tip and say, oh, just like be confident and just kind of like put on some cologne and brush your teeth and those things and just talk to her, and you should be fine. That doesn't work.
Just talk to her.
Just talk to her.
If it's meant to be, it will be.
Exactly. Exactly. And then a man
It's all about your energy.
Very non-specific advice.
That's why you got to go to Tripp.
That's what I say. Okay. So I love these sound effects. Men, they think that because they're attracted to a woman's looks.
Yeah.
They think that it's all about looks. And I thought that for a long time too. So men think I got to be really physically attractive to attract a woman, which by the way is very true.
Yeah.
You know, women are attracted to men because of what they look like, but it's not the whole picture, and men think it's the whole picture. Yeah. So my job as a coach, as a dating coach for guys, is to open up their minds and help them understand that attraction is not just about what you look like. And the good news is there's things that you can do to change your behaviors that make it more attractive, that make the guy more attractive to a woman.
Okay. So give me an example of attractive behavior that men today, tell the audience as a man, what you can start doing today. What's a behavior that makes you more attractive?
I would say assertiveness is more attractive.
Okay.
Versus passivity.
Okay.
So a lot of guys are very passive.
Okay.
They're not opinionated, very agreeable.
Okay.
Too nice, too accommodating. Yeah. And passive in the sense they won't even take action. They won't go approach the girl. They won't ask her out. They'll text them for hours. They won't even make any sort of move.
Okay.
So they're very passive.
So no, go ahead. You're going to say something?
So I was just going to say on the opposite end, assertiveness is what women are attracted to, taking the lead. Mm-hmm. And you can do that through going over, talking to a woman, starting the conversation, having really good eye contact, leading the conversation, being opinionated, not being afraid to share your actual thoughts and opinions on the things in the world, whatever they may be, and taking the lead to get her on a date, making the date happen, telling her where to go, when you're doing it, going from there, leading the sex, leading the relationship, all assertive behavior. Now, is that going to be the only thing you need to do? And then all of a sudden, you do that and all these women are coming and clawing all over you? No, but that is a big step. And that's one of the biggest things that guys are missing.
I agree with you. And I think the challenge also in this pursuit is, even if they master that, the challenge is now, is that who you will naturally be for the remainder of the relationship if you get in that relationship?
Correct. You're very right on that.
So you
need to be that guy.
So how do you navigate that with the men that come to you? Because I would imagine that sometimes men who struggle to get the type of woman that they want, there's a innate embedded character flaw that they have to work through, regardless of how great their pickup game is, right? So how do you navigate that with the men that come for coaching, or is that not part of the repertoire?
It is part of the repertoire. I would say it comes from theory and practice, right? So that's a way to teach. So you teach the theory and then you teach the practice. So the theory is what we went over just a second ago. Well, actually, I went over both theory and practice. Okay. But first they have to understand the theory of understanding this is how it works.
Okay.
So they have to really understand, and it's very counterintuitive. So it could take months to really understand and really be aware of how attraction works, because it's going to unravel a lot of things in their mind, and it's going to challenge a lot of their older beliefs of what they thought attraction was and how it works. So that's kind of like step one. Okay. And then step two is the repetition part and the practice part. Kind of when I said earlier, it was like, okay, we got to get you actually now into going over, approaching women, swiping, taking the lead. This is how you text. This is what you say. This is how you set up the date. This is how you set up the second date. This is how you physically escalate with the woman, and getting them into the repetitions of it all.
So those all sound very fascinating, and things that I would imagine at first glance is going to be very challenging to somebody without the experience. Right?
Yeah.
So give me an example, two examples, but two different examples. Give me one example of a guy that you coached that had the most challenging experience in this, and because of
working with them right now.
Right. Based on what their starting point is. And two, whether it's the same guy or not, give me an example of a guy you coached that had the most transformative experience from your coaching session. So start with guy that had the worst starting point you can think of, and what do you think that guy's challenge is? Okay,
so one of the biggest challenges was a guy that I worked with in his early 40s.
Yeah.
Who I won't say his race just because I don't want to sound like I'm racist here, but we'll just say he's not American and he has an accent. So he's not from America.
Okay.
And if you're in a country, literally any country, and it's not your native language, there's going to be a problem with attracting women. Okay. So plus 5'2". So on the below average height. And not that this is not a big deal, but I guess it's worth mentioning. Has a couple of kids, divorced. That doesn't really add to his value, but it's not that big of a deal. And he's only been with one or two women.
Like been meaning sexually or dated?
Sexual or in relationship, both. Okay. So he was married for most of his life, has two kids. And so, yeah, you present that guy to most women and they're just going to say no. Nope, don't want that. He's old, he's short, and he's not from America.
Oof.
Nope, no problem. That's how attraction works. I get it. That's, off the bat.
Okay.
But what did we do? We took him through my system. We taught him assertiveness. We taught him how to lead. We taught him how to look his best. So we optimized his looks to make him as physically attractive as possible.
Okay.
We taught him how to swipe an hour a day. We taught him how to go out and approach women. We built his confidence. And within a few months, he's now dating a couple girls and he's getting laid.
That's, you know what? So, I'm not even mad at that, because at the end of the day, like, and this is what we said earlier, as a man, even though it's a challenge to be rejected and having to put your best foot forward and be the person that takes initiative, I think the advantage men have once you do get that down is you get to decide how your life goes, right? Mm-hmm. Once you have the tools, you get to make more of a decision on your love life that you can take more control of, and you can give, women either sex or relationship and so on and so forth once you have those tools. So give me an example so that was the example of the most transformative person.
That was no, I don't think that was most transformative person. That was the biggest leap, I think.
Okay.
The most transformative person. It's almost like I've had a lot of these guys, but I want to see if there's an interesting.
AKA, he knows what he's doing.
I'm just being honest. But the biggest transformation. I mean, I guess I don't know. I just have stories all the time of guys I work with who they have nothing. They have nothing going for them, and then by the time we're done, they're just dating all these women and they're having a dating life and they feel I mean, I've had guys who, this is the cool part about it, is they'll find me to help them with women. But what happens is they become more confident in themselves. They start getting raises at work and they do better with their work. They do better with socializing in general.
Wow.
I've had guys where I've just fully helped develop. Here's a big one. I worked with him for a year. And I'm trying to say this without giving any personal details. Also a guy who had kids, and we got him from literally just a guy who had a job in a city to a guy who ended up getting a girlfriend who they are now moving in together after dating for almost a year. So full on relationship. Plus has a full social circle of awesome dudes that he hangs out with all the time.
Okay.
And he's doing better with all the different areas of his life, his health, working out, with his fashion, with with, as I already said, friends, with his career, like everything. We just totally transformed everything in his life. And it all started with going out and meeting women. And you know how he met this woman?
How?
With a mask on, in freezing cold temperatures, on an in-person approach on the street.
Were you there when it happened?
I was not.
Okay. Or do you ever go like do that with the?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I do that about once a year. When I first started Trip Advice in 2011, I was doing that exclusively every weekend, going out with guys and wiring them up to mics and listening to what they were saying to women.
Really?
And how to approach women. Yeah.
You were like literally coaching from the field.
Yeah. It was exhausting, but it was fun.
Okay. You're in a relationship?
Yep.
Okay. How does your girlfriend feel? Fiance. I'm sorry. How does your fiance feel about your pursuit to help men get women using a lot of these tools you're mentioning? Does she feel that, you're giving away too much of the secret sauce? Does she feel
she feels great about it. I mean, I couldn't imagine anyone who wouldn't feel great about it.
Well, I think it depends. I think some women might, I don't know. I've spoken to some women, either ones that I have been in relationships with or women I just speak to in my circle or in passing, like that there are these specific things that guys can do, right? And a lot of women say, you either have it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
They'll say these things, or they'll be concerned that like guys are just learning how to run game on women.
What's wrong with learning how to, I mean, we can use the term game, but what's wrong with learning how to learn attraction skills? I'll call it attraction skills.
I got you. That's not what some women might call it. So I'm asking about your fiance to see if like she might feel that like, a lot of these guys, especially the ones that don't really have the genuine character traits, are just learning how to like bamboozle women into sleeping with them. You know what I mean?
But is it bamboozling?
I'm not saying it is.
No,
I'm talking.
I know you're not, but that's kind of like my response to it. Like if a woman was saying those things, because I know what you're doing. You're being the
antagonist,
not antagonist. You're being the vessel right now from kind of what you've heard from women. So these are the things that I would respond to them. You're the middleman right now. So I'd be saying to them, well, I would say, God, see, it's so not politically correct when you have these conversations, but I would say to a woman, you put on makeup. So go ahead, hit that button.
Go on.
So isn't that bamboozling? Isn't that manipulative?
Oof.
But the thing is I'm actually not even teaching guys how to be manipulative or be someone that they're not. We're teaching them how to come into a person who's more confident. But the makeup thing is like, well, that's not what you look like. And it's fine. I'm not saying women shouldn't wear makeup. Makeup is great. It does make women look more attractive. They look sexy with makeup on. That's why they wear it. We all know that. It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. It's like if a woman says, you're teaching how much, it's like, what's the difference really? And also, I'm not teaching any guys to lie. I would say manipulation's like, to me, that's synonymous with lying, because it's like you're doing something false to get something you want. I'm not teaching any guys to do anything false. I'm teaching guys how to have courage and confidence. Now, the pickup industry really did that. It was like gambits and pickup routines and lies to say to women things that like were effective, but also just that would be more manipulative in my eyes. So yeah, I'm teaching guys how to be an actual confident person. You got to fake it till you make it a little bit. Yeah. But if that's called manipulation, then I think that's going a little too far.
Huh. Interesting. What does
so my fiance is cool with it because we're teaching guys. I'm teaching men how to be the man that a woman wants.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's like, how many happy relationships and how many women have I made happy because they found an amazing guy that I helped. I'm not trying to be arrogant here. It's just the facts. Like, I've changed these guys' lives to be more attractive men that has affected the lives of the women who have met them in a very positive way. So that's how I see it.
So in other words, like, you've made a lot of other women happy.
I think so. I hope so.
While being engaged to your woman. How does she feel about that?
Even better.
Tell me, like, your relationship with your parents. How do they feel about this? Is this something that, like, you learned from, like, your father also? Like, what did your father teach you? What did your mom teach you in the context of, like, relationships as a dating coach?
They didn't teach me about how attraction works or that. I think from them, the only thing that I learned, and when I say only, I don't think this is light. It's a pretty big deal. I learned from them indirectly about how to sustain a relationship and have a fantastic relationship and marriage. But that's a little bit of a different skill set that didn't directly help me meet women. So I had to learn that part on my own. But it was a great example of how to keep a relationship together through hard times. That was what I learned from my parents. I hope that when I have kids one day, that if I have a boy and he doesn't think I'm a loser, because we think our dads are losers when you're a teenager. If he doesn't think I'm a loser, hopefully he'll come to me and I can teach him the correct way to meet women and build confidence. And I would love to be that person for him. I hope that all dads will. I think dads should watch my stuff so they can teach their kids.
Or just have your kid watch your stuff.
That works too. But isn't it always nice coming from your dad? But maybe not. You're like, oh, Dad, don't tell me this stuff. That's like, weird. I don't want to hear this from you.
My friends are watching his videos. Oh, it's embarrassing. Yeah. So in the spirit of, like, helping men, right? And also, like, just in a lot of ways, you're helping women too by proxy, right? I have received some questions from my listeners and from previous guests of the show, some of which I think you are more than qualified to answer. Okay. So we're going to start off with something light, and maybe we'll do maybe 2 questions. Is that cool?
Let's do it.
All right. So here's the first one. This is from a viewer of the show and a previous guest of the podcast. So here's her question.
Do you think that dating is more difficult in a big city like New York or LA, or is it just situational? Because I hear a lot of people complaining about dating in cities like Atlanta, LA, New York. Mm-hmm. Is it the cities that are difficult, or is it just, the situation? Do we all need to move to the Midwest? Like, what's the problem here?
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I actually think it's easier. I think the problem lies in the person rather than the environment. In the specific case of big cities. Big cities are fantastic. You have so many people. Yeah. So in theory, if you know what you're doing as a man or a woman, you should be able to find someone who's a great match for you. The troubles that I have more troubles with, for example, with my clients who live in small cities. Those guys have a lot of trouble because there's not that many women around. Okay. So it is hard in the cities because of the paradox of choice. You have so many people that it makes it harder to choose. But that's human error. That's my quick answer.
I like that answer, and I think you hit the nail on the head. And I'm glad you said that last part, because that was going to be my rebuttal, which is that, like, a big city is a double-edged sword, right? To your point, in a big city, you have a plethora of options to choose from, but so does a lot of other people who you're pursuing, right? So now pursuing these options might seem great because you have those as potential options, but the challenge is everybody's distracted, right? Everybody's distracted by all these options as well. And you're also meeting people where it might be difficult to find similar values, because a lot of those people are coming from so many different places. So trying to find a match that, like, is built for your lifestyle, your history and your upbringing, I live in New York City, so I see that day in, day out, right? So the challenge is finding someone that matches your ideals and what you want. That's the challenge. And challenge number 2 is like people with so many options are harder to pin down. You know what I mean? But to your point, you have more options to play with. So if you want to get good at something, you might as well practice in a big city and then settle down in the Midwest.
When you're in a small city, nothing you can do. I tell guys, if you're in a small city, you gotta move.
Oof. All right, fair enough. That's a good answer to that question. Let me give you another question. All right. Let me see here. All right, here's one.
When should a woman come forward and offer to share either finances, pay a bill, or, even just like, hey, we went out to dinner and, offer to pay, treat the guy, or split the bill? When should that occur? That's my question for that next guest.
So basically her question is like threefold, right? There's like how and when's the best time for women to contribute financially, either just like in general in a relationship, general bills, or just like something as simple as like on a first date.
Well, I will say it so depends when you start getting into a relationship, I think. But on a first date, it's really sexy when a woman offers.
Interesting.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I want you to finish your thought because I want to see where you go with this.
But I mean, you're on a first date.
Yeah.
Girl offers to pay.
Okay.
Do you like that?
Depends.
Really? I think that's fantastic.
Let me tell you why it depends, right?
If she forces the split when I'm offering, that's a lot of masculine energy that I don't think is very attractive.
Okay.
It's nice if I'm offering and to pick up the bill. And she offers to, and I say, no, listen, I got this one. Maybe you'll get the next one. And she goes, okay, that's great. And the fact that she offered is really sweet.
I'm going to challenge you to look at it a different way.
Okay.
I actually had a 2-hour debate with a woman last night who's actually a fan of yours. Here's where I challenge that mindset. I think several years ago, I would have been on your side. But what I've learned about women are 2 things, right? Well, it's not 2 things. I learned 3 scenarios when you take a woman out. There are 3 types of women when it comes to the bill.
Okay.
Woman number 1, a woman who generally wants to pay. In fact, she insists because she doesn't want to feel dependent financially. So she genuinely wants to add value to an experience because that's who she is. She's going to pay. Right? There are women who don't want to pay and they don't offer to pay because they know they don't want to pay. Right? There are women who, and then the third is like, it looks like a hybrid, but it's not, are women who offer to pay for one of 2 reasons, right? A woman who offers to pay because that's her signal that she's not interested in you. I've heard women say this.
Oh, yeah.
She's offering to pay because she's not interested in you, or a woman who's offering to pay to test you to see if you're going to let her pay. Okay.
Okay.
So what I've always said, and I've said it in previous episodes because this question comes up to me a lot. Okay. I said, I have a lot more respect for women who offers to pay and means it and is not going to look at you sideways by letting her pay, or I also have a lot of respect for a woman who doesn't offer at all, because at least you know where she stands. You know she's not offering anything that she doesn't genuinely want to do. Where it gets very shaky is when a woman's offering to pay just to test you, and you have no idea which type of woman you're really dealing with, because a man's like, oh, she's being sweet, she's thoughtful, when in reality, that's not the woman that you're really dating.
Right. Okay. So there's all those scenarios, but we're answering the question of that woman.
Yes.
And she asked, it sounds like the way she's asking it is from the idea of like, what should she do in the future? Or what's, if she likes a guy.
Okay. And I like the fact that
like an opinion question. It sounded like, I mean, what should a woman do in that situation?
Okay.
That's what it sounded like to me. I don't know. You've heard it probably a few times.
I have heard it from a few people. And I think, to your point, the way she's asking the question, I think she's looking at it from relationship based, right?
Relationship based.
But if we were looking at it from like first date or first couple of dates, that's my answer on that point. But I think on her angle, if she's a person who genuinely wants to contribute, she can either verbalize it or take action. I usually say, if a woman wants to pay, she'll just pay. She's not going to ask to pay.
I feel like a lot of women won't respect the guy that she's with if she's having to contribute equal amount of pay.
I agree.
In a relationship, and the attraction for her will die if the guy is paying the same or less than her throughout the relationship.
I agree.
This is where it gets tough. This is where we get into the politically correct zone. To say to a woman, well, you should find a guy or say to anyone like, oh, you should find a guy who's making more. I mean, but that's what women want.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're admitting it because they don't want to admit that they aren't their words, not mine, as powerful. They are as powerful as men, which I think that women are as powerful as men and equal. But a woman doesn't want, at the end of the day, a guy to make as much or less than her. So she has to meet a guy who is making more and covering most of the bills.
Yeah. And I agree with you 1,000%. That's where the challenge comes in at, like, if a woman's offering to pay, given what you just said, does she really want that?
Well, yeah, I think that a woman's probably ideal situation, my guess, is the guy just comes forward and says, hey, I got this. I'm taking care of this. Don't even worry. Don't say a word. Let me grab this one. She goes, okay.
After she offers, or just in general?
Doesn't even get a chance to offer.
Okay.
He already took care of it. Like, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like he went up and paid and says, okay, let's go. And she goes, oh, don't we have to pay? He goes, I took care of it.
What if she has like the little alligator arms? You want me to put you?
But then I get it. I know there's women out there who do say what you said. That's an interesting point too. There's some women out there who say, no, I want to pay my way and pay half. And I don't really have an opinion on it, really. It's like, okay.
Like, all right.
I don't know. I haven't really thought too much on that.
All right. You might want to talk to the guys you're sending out on these dates.
Would I care? I don't know. It'd be a yellow flag for me, to be honest.
What is a yellow flag?
Well, red flag is like, oh, this is a problem. There's a problem here with this person. Yellow flag is, I'm not sure if this is a problem yet, but it's my eyebrows are raised.
If she does what? If
she inserts herself and is so forceful into saying, no, stop. I'm paying half of this bill.
Okay. I've had an
well, either one, she's either just doing that because she doesn't want to see me again. Okay, fine. But maybe that other half, right? Maybe she does want to see me again, but she just wants to pay her way. And she's being very forceful and not submitting to that. I don't know. There's something that says to me that this might be a difficult relationship.
So I'll give you another scenario, right? I once went on a first date with a woman who I went, like, I took her to a lounge. We were hanging out, having drinks and stuff like that. And then towards the end of the day, I was like, okay, well, let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. And she went to go use the bathroom. And then I asked for the check. And then when I asked for the check, the bartender or the whatever waitress, or I don't remember who it was, said that, oh no, she already took care of it when she went to the bathroom. What do you think about that?
Interesting. Baller move. I would wonder. I
Look
wonder
at you,
after
your
that
brain's fried.
if she wants to see me again.
We dated for a year after that.
Cool. Why'd you guys break up?
You know, you see, you're asking deep questions, man. You're asking deep questions. Okay, I'll spill the beans on this, right? And then okay.
Yeah,
so
we
here's
wrap
what
it
happened.
up here.
Yeah,
I'm over my time.
No.
But
Well,
this is a fantastic conversation.
I'll say this real quick. I think what happened was my love language is acts of service. Clearly, that was a big, bold act of service, right? And that's what she was about. She was a person that really contributed to her man, and she really did that. And because that triggered me in the right positive way, I overlooked things that I wasn't attracted to. And then when I finally snapped out of it, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying all these acts of service, but am I really attracted to this person? I wasn't. And
I wonder if I have so much I could say. This would go on forever. But I know
part two will come.
To ask, right?
Part two will come. Listen, on the part two, you're going to coach me on my problems. Okay.
I bet you your problems are easy, and I'm happy to help you.
Maybe not. I don't know. So give me 2 questions you want the next guest to answer.
Okay. I thought of one. The first one is, what's the biggest lesson you want to teach your future son or daughter?
Interesting. Okay. I like that
and
one.
If they don't want to have kids, then we can ask them if you had a hypothetical niece or nephew, or a hypothetical son or daughter. What's the biggest lesson you want to teach them?
Okay. Do you have any other questions you want to ask?
What are you doing tomorrow that's going to help you in the next 5 years?
I like that one.
The reason why I said why I didn't say today, like what are you doing today, is because people already have their days planned. So I'm using tomorrow.
I like that one. This is like book worthy quotes here. I like that. I appreciate that. So we're gonna get those questions answered definitely by the next guest. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I know we're running short on time. Give people an idea of how they can reach you, how they can take part in some of your programs.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're listening to this on the podcast app, you can jump over to my podcast if you're interested in learning more. It's called How to Talk to Girls. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can jump over to my YouTube channel called Tripp Advice. Tripp is a 2 P's. And if you just want to dive into even more and you're very interested, you can go to trippadvice.com, and there you can see different courses that I sell, coaching that I offer. And I should say also, if you're watching this on TikTok, no, you probably won't be watching this on TikTok, so like 15-second videos. If you're watching this on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram as well. So wherever you're listening to or watching this, you can find Tripp Advice. And if you just want to hear about all of it, trippadvice.com.
Right on. Beautiful. My name is Jeff Damisse. You can find me at j.damisse on IG, or j_damisse for Twitter. For the Introspect Club podcast, it's Introspect_Club for everything. That's IG, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, we're everywhere. If you guys have any questions that you want answered on the show, please DM me, shoot me a video, shoot me audio or text. We'll get those questions answered on the show. And if you are a unique individual that lives a very interesting life that is unique from everybody else and other people can learn from, you might be able to get on the show. So reach out to me. Tripp, this was a phenomenal conversation, and I can't wait for the next time we can speak again.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.